mine.
It's not your thing. It's what you.
It is my thing.
It isn't your thing.
This is not
it
your
isn't.
thing.
Why am I listening to you like you've done something?
Comedian Bill Burr recently took on Bill Maher over the issue of Israel's assault on Gaza. This happened on Sunday's Club Random, and it was pretty great.
They are in with the terrorists.
They were for the Palestinians.
Well, it's sort of the same cause. Why, are you?
I'm on the side of the kids.
Yeah, that's easy to say. You know, no one wants to see kids dead. This is a war.
That was very brave of you to say that.
This is a war. No, I'm the one who's actually brave on this.
Pat yourself on the back.
It's easy to say I'm for the kids. Who's not for the kids?
Well,
it comes down to real hard-nosed decisions. Like a country.
Stop talking like you're a general.
A country got attacked. Israel got attacked.
I'm not saying that they didn't have a right to go back. I'm just sitting there going like, how do I look at what?
They're the only country in the world that they get attacked, and then as soon as they counterattack, it's like, well, we got to stop this now. Don't attack them. There's a very simple solution to all this problem in the Middle East. Stop attacking Israel.
Oh, that's it? Oh God. Yeah, Bill Maher has absolutely solved it. Yeah, that's right. Just stop attacking Israel. Stop it. Okay, except that he's wrong about that. Okay, but first, let me go back to the beginning, right? Oh, they're in with the terrorists. Now, they were addressing, Bill Maher was addressing the student protesters who are all for a ceasefire. But apparently, being pro-ceasefire is being with the terrorists. No, that's ridiculous. And I'm glad that Burr had called him out on this and said, "Hey, I'm with the kids. Okay, I'm on the side of the kids that are being murdered right now. Okay, I don't want that." So now, look, here's the thing about Israel. They've been running an apartheid regime in Gaza and the West Bank, which is currently referred to as occupied Palestinian territory. You understand that? It's not part of Israel. They call it that because, guess what? The people there are under Israeli occupation. They are not considered to be a sovereign country. They're also not considered to be part of Israel. So the people living there do not have any rights. In fact, these territories have been settled by Israeli settlers that have moved in, that have forcibly removed Palestinians from their homes. Yes, these are illegal settlements. What they're doing, the Israeli government is doing, is manifest destiny. They're doing their own from the river to the sea. That's what's going on here. In the occupied territories, Palestinians are not treated with any respect or human rights. Now, they're treated a little bit better in the country of Israel proper, but not that much better. So let me give you some examples here. This is from an Amnesty International report, first from 2021 and then 2023. Amnesty International found that Israeli authorities have enacted multiple measures to deliberately deny Palestinians basic rights and freedoms, including draconian movement restrictions in the occupied territories. In the country of Israel, as I mentioned, they still have discriminatory, there's discrimination against them. For example, underinvestment in Palestinian communities in Israel. There's also the denial of refugees' right to return. The report also documents forcible transfer, administrative detention, torture, and unlawful killings in both Israel and the OPT. This has been happening for a very, very long time. The 2023 report also cites even worse conditions. They note that detentions of Palestinians without charge or trial has reached record levels. When they say release the hostages, right? Well, currently there are hostages, Palestinian hostages, inside of Israel. Again, people being held without charge or trial in indefinite detention in Israel. Release the hostages, release the Palestinian hostages as well. And again, inside of Israel, police use excessive force and arbitrary arrest at anti-government demonstrations and impose bans on anti-war protests in Palestinian communities. And another thing that right-wingers love to point out, right? Oh, LGBTQ people would be murdered in Palestine, but not in Israel. They're not mistreated in Israel whatsoever. LGBTQ people continue to get to face discrimination in both law and practice in Israel. Okay, so look, a lot of people are making the mistake here of saying that everything was wonderful before October 7th. Okay, when Hamas did this horrific attack against Israel. But it wasn't good. And that's, again, not an excuse for the violent attack on that day, of course. But understand that this has been simmering for a very, very long time because of the conditions in Gaza. As of 2022, the unemployment rate there was among the highest globally at 46.6%. Youth unemployment at a sky-high 62.5%. The Gaza power plant only meets about 50% of the region's electricity demand, resulting in power cuts that averaged 11 hours a day. There's 24 hours in a day, all right? This is almost half of the day where you do not have power. 97% of the water in Gaza is contaminated and unfit for human consumption, posing serious health risks, especially to children who make up about half the population in Gaza. So now, I'm not saying that Hamas isn't responsible for not fixing those things up, right? Some of those things, and using some of the aid and money that they have received in investing in weapons instead. I'm not saying Hamas is completely, totally, scot-free, innocent of everything, right? But understand that those conditions there lead to people joining groups like Hamas, propping them up. Not to mention you have repeated Israeli counterattacks, which end up being never symmetrical, all right? They always end up with high numbers of civilian casualties for Palestinians, all right? Now, not attacking Israel doesn't solve the problem any more than attacking Israel does, okay? Every time Palestinian leadership has attempted to use nonviolent means to secure their statehood, like going to the UN, for example, Israel rejects it, the United States rejects it, they use their veto power to deny Palestinians self-determination. What message is that sending? It sends that the non-peaceful route will get you absolutely nowhere. And I think that's the wrong message to send. We need to go the peaceful route. So now getting back to Bill Burr and Bill Maher and their back and forth.
Hey, you
Stop
just solved
attacking
it.
Israel.
You just
I did.
solved it.
I actually
there
did.
you go. That's fantastic.
Anyway.
All right.
We don't need to get onto that.
Let's go to Russia and the Ukraine. How do you solve that one, Bill? Let me hear your hard-nosed decision about that. Well, let me ask you a question. How is war still legal? All this been canceled.
Legal.
Why is that still legal?
Would you like a real answer to that? Because for something to be illegal, you have to have the capacity to enforce it. And you can't enforce against war, or else you have to go to war with the country that's going to war. And we don't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. What would be the sense of making it illegal? Oh, that's really going to stop Putin. No. To stop people from going to war, you have to also put
You can't sit down and talk it out. Why can't Putin do a podcast with the head guy? Like, you just solved the Middle East on a podcast. Why can't they solve what they're doing on a podcast?
See, this is why this is not your thing.
Make some hard-nosed decisions. It's not your thing. It's what you.
It is my thing.
It isn't your thing.
This is not your thing.
You're like that guy that has a fantasy football team and thinks he's a GM.
No.
That's exactly what it is. Like, why am I listening to you like you've done something? What have you done in Washington? Nothing.
So I love that exchange, because here you have someone who is like armchair quarterbacking a conflict that has been going on for decades, right? And he's told to shut up. Like, Bill Maher, what, you think it's so easy to solve? Well, why haven't you solved it already? Like, that's the whole point. You think that maybe there's a reason that things are kind of messed up over there? And that maybe young people here in the United States have started to notice that? And that we're kind of pissed off seeing the constant barrage of videos from dead Palestinian children all over the place, while our government continues to send 2,000-pound bombs that are then being used to flatten whole neighborhoods? Oh, but it must be the TikTok. That's what it is. Oh, and we must also be all Hamas supporters. Yes, we're all Hamas. We're pro-terrorists. No, it's ridiculous. Look, the reason people are getting mad is not because of the whole idea of Israel existing, right? Or that we don't believe that they have a right to defend themselves or have a place of their own, and we're not even against the Jewish people overall. to claim that is absolutely ridiculous. No, what we're doing is that we're against the war crimes. We're against the oppression of Palestinians and denial of their human rights. We have to believe that both Jewish people and Palestinian people, their lives are equal. Yes, we believe that both of their lives are equal to each other, and not one person's or group's lives are more important than the other. I know. What a crazy thing to say. It must be anti-Semitic, right? No. Again, what's going on here is that there is an ethnic cleansing. Israel wants to land in Gaza. That's it. In order to get it, however, they got to get the Palestinians out. They got to make them leave. And I think that they are trying to make Palestinians leave by making their lives as horrible as they can so that they will self-deport to, Egypt, which is the closest place. There's nowhere to go for the over 2 million people that live there, over half of them being 19 or younger. So what's going to happen? Some of them are going to do violence. I don't condone that. And now what happens when some of them do violence? Collective punishment against everyone else by the Israeli military. That's what's been going on. Now, for me, the solution here is to, for one, tear down the illegal settlements and allow Palestinians to actually have a sovereign state. One that Israel can coexist peacefully with. Now, unlike Bill Maher, I know that this is not going to be easy to have a two-state solution, okay? Look, it's easy to destroy, it's easy to bomb, it's easy to kill. It's not easy to make peace, especially with, groups that have long histories of past hatreds, a long history of blood. I get that. It is not so easy to make peace, okay? But it has to be done. It has to be done if there is ever going to be a future for both peoples.